So Prashant and JioStar sort of caters to 1.3 billion, 1.4 billion users. So that's the scale we are talking about when we talk to JioStar. So let's just start with maybe you just introduce yourself, Prashant, before we play the video. Just don't play it yet, please. I just like you to tell in your own words what you do and how important that role is.
Thank you so much for having me here. In a nutshell, I have the privilege and the opportunity to run production services, production technology in studios for GeoStar. We do it both for sports and live experiences. So everything from cricket to large scale sports to cold play, from producing to putting it on the platform is something that we do. You mentioned about scale. IPL had 1.19 billion viewers. I will just clarify that, not 1.3 or 1.4, but we need to get our numbers right. But yeah, that's the responsibility that we have as a team, and what we put together for the network, both on linear as well as digital platforms.
Okay. So, just looking at the sheer magnitude of what Geo Hotstar has done with IPL 2025, you already spoke about it. 1 billion viewers across TV and digital, 840 billion minutes of watch time, and at one point during the final, 55 million concurrent viewers on Geo Hotstar alone. Okay, let's play that video so it's just clear.
On GeoStar, sport has infinite possibilities. When India plays, a billion hearts beat as one. IPL 2025. One season, one nation, 1.19 billion viewers.
And after 18 years, it is the RCB.
And when the stakes were highest in the Champions Trophy final, 61.3 million fans streamed together. India's moment of glory, a digital record for India. At GeoStar, the mantra is infinite innovation. More languages, more inclusivity, more entertainment, more ways to consume content.
Those are big numbers, guys. So, Prashant, can you walk us through what it actually takes from an infrastructure, operation, strategic point of view to deliver that kind of seamless streaming to that kind of unprecedented scale?
Yeah, so for us, I think what's most important is before we, talk about streaming and scale, it actually starts from the consumer, and we've built a platform. We believe as an organization that we, bring together and weave what are, cultural moments, of togetherness for our fans, and you create national memories. And those memories that you see here are actually built at scale. And that entire circus comes together from uh, elements that come together from what's happening on the field of play to eventually what transpires on your screens, irrespective of where you're watching it, is something that we put together. So, I mean, if it's numbers at any given point in time, an event like IPL typically sees close to about an 1100 workforce between talent, crew, on-site, off-site, that comes together. We partner with the BCCI, the ICC, to not just produce our unilateral feeds, but the world feed for them as well. And interesting enough, we now white label the platform as well, to be able to provide what we believe is the ultimate scale, for other partners as well.
When you do anything at that scale, we're talking about a lot of technical challenges. Could you sort of tell us what some of those technical and logistical challenges are?
Well, the biggest challenge was that we recently merged as an organization. It'll be a year on the 14th of November. But when we first brought the two organizations together, we had 4 months in to migrate 250 million subscribers across the two platforms, and put it onto a new platform. And like we say, it was like bringing two Formula One teams together and then getting them to race on the weekend. And I think we did race well and we won. So That's the size, scale, and speed of operation that we're talking about.
So when it comes to scaling play-out operations for an event of this magnitude, what approach did you take? Like, how did you expand your play-out capabilities? How critical were technology vendors, for instance, in meeting your demanding streaming requirements?
Yeah, so I think we have a unique challenge of scale, and for that we work with multiple partners, vendors, in the space. A lot of them are here today. Skanda is one of them. Quidditch is the other. And a few more. And it's really interesting that when you want to look at spinning up instances that go into 250 playouts, 300 playouts, reduce them across platforms, across devices, making sure that your bitrate ladders are operating at a level where in India we have a unique challenge of devices that range from $50 going up to $1,500. And how do you make sure that they all have the sports experience that you want to cater for? So we stand by our principle of being consumer first, which means you don't need to change your device. We'll change the experience for you in a way that you can consume it on the platform that you're watching.
How are you doing that?
Well, it starts from, going as low as 256 kbps for, a stream, which means you can still see the ball, while it's there, and all the way up to 4K. So that's maybe 10, 12, 14 different instances that allow you to see. There is, programmatic ads now. There is what we provide in terms of interactivity, not just on digital platforms, but a linear platform as well. India is one of the only markets where linear is actually growing as well as we speak. Small percentage, but it's still there. So you need to make sure that you decide and differentiate between your lean back and lean forward experiences between linear and digital. And that's the holy grail for us.
You mentioned collaboration, and you mentioned that you're collaborating with a couple of vendors. You're also starting to offer new services in the region or globally. Could you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, in our ambit with the Jio Hotstar platform that exists today, we now white label it, to be able to provide to partners at scale. We have the CDN capacity, the networks that can bring you to a level that you want to be fairly quickly. We also work with multiple partners to bring in interactivity. Skanda is one of them mentioned here. Whether it's playout, whether it's linear TV activation, whether it's value-added services, for instance. So a lot of it actually can be put together and put out. We were one of the first to do remote productions in the region, where we started connecting stadiums across the globe, and especially in India as early as 2018. And we've been producing 12 different languages out of our remote operations center, as we call it today, without moving crews or people around from those facilities. And today we believe with 20 plus studios and a fully kitted out production facility, we can actually cater to pretty much any region in the world, sitting out of our headquarters.
Yeah, speaking of languages, that's a big question we had. One of your biggest unique strengths is the multilingual approach. Could you tell us about the reach that you have with that? How many channels are we talking? How many languages are we talking?
Yeah, for a big marquee event, we go as high as 12 languages.
So that's what you mentioned.
Yeah, the intention is, can we actually expand that? Contrary to what we believe WorldFeed used to be originally in English. Now we are seeing a lot more traction in our Hindi and regional languages. Hindi contributes to almost 60% of consumption, followed by English and then the regional languages that we go out to. In fact, interesting enough, we're seeing more and more demand for our regional feeds internationally, in terms of the cohorts that exist outside of India than, in India itself.
So you have a lot of data regarding this, right? And that's probably how you're also doing your audience engagement. Could you talk a little bit about that? And you also mentioned if regional languages are getting a lot more traction internationally, why would that be?
Well, it's the Indian diaspora there. It's the we are practically in every part of the world. So it's again our responsibility to make sure we are servicing everyone.
More a cultural thing, or?
I think so. I think it also comes from, because like I mentioned, we're consumer first. If a consumer asks for it, it's our responsibility to provide it. And we don't chase viewership as such. When you provide a platform that can give you aggregated viewership and segmented viewership. I mean, you saw, we built something that was vertical production for cricket that had never been done in 150 years, with independent cameras, redesigning of graphics, redesigning of how you would look at eye tracking technologies in terms of output. We were able to move 30% of our audiences from horizontal viewing to vertical viewing, and it actually became complementary rather than a experience that was either or. We brought in inclusivity with the sign language feed that you saw, which means cricket, it was believed that a live sport can never be signed, and we achieved that with zero latency as of today. So the intention is, can you identify those pockets? Can you identify the consumers, whether everybody wants to watch it together in a room, as a family, or whether a family wants to decide and watch it on their own on different devices. You should be able to provide that experience.
Prashant, what is JioStar's ultimate vision? Right now, you guys are giving what? One experience to 1 billion users? But you mentioned something like you have a big vision there. Could you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, well, live sport is live sport, and, it goes out as one to many. Our biggest ambition is, can we change that one to as many people that really exist in the country, and, make it 1 billion different experiences of the same game. We're doing a lot of that today with the segmentization that we do. On an event like IPL or an ICC World Cup, we deliver 25 different feeds, in across platforms. And the intention is, can we actually grow it to 1 million different streams, on the platform?
Are there any bold ideas, experiments, AI, cloud production, fan interactivity, anything that you think will fundamentally change there to add to your billion user experiences for 1 billion users?
Well, interesting enough, innovation's already out there, right? It's just not evenly distributed. And we want to make sure that it gets democratized and available in every manner possible. I mean, you should be able to design your own feed, or be able to say that I don't want to do it, and let the broadcaster or the production partner provide it for me. And that's where we believe all of these are great enablers. Whether it's AI, whether it's cloud production, whether it's how iPhones or mobile phones are being used to shoot today, for instance. There is a place for all of it. From a low spec output, depending on the audience cohort that you have, to something that's very high spec and customized. And that's the world that we live in today. So we strongly believe that it's no one size fits all anymore. It has to be divided, it has to be fragmented, while you still service a massive cohort and congregate audiences like sport does, and nothing else, in that space.
And this is just something off the cuff. You're now in the Middle East. You've probably been watching this market. How do you think things can change here in terms of sport? I mean, how do you see things happening at the moment, and how do you think things can be different?
Well, what's interesting is that, we're all solving for the same problem in our own silos. I think the biggest differentiator is, I think collaboration is a tool that allows you to take it forward much faster. And that's what we hope and expect, we see some great content coming out from the Middle East. We see how much traction there is, how much appetite for innovation there is, in this market. And we really hope that with some of the partners that we have here, we can bring the scale and the segmentization at the same time, to this audience.
Awesome. Anything else you want to have say in terms of concluding remarks? Because I think the time is up now.
No, I think we've, I would say, things, the 4 things that we, take for ourselves is, we want to be intuitive, immersive, interactive, and inclusive, at the same time. And want to make sure that we're chasing creativity and being humble and nimble in terms of the size and scale that we want to operate in. So happy to reach out, happy to have a conversation, and I think we can definitely build, a more exciting world of sports, as we go along.
Together. So together we can achieve a lot. That's your mantra, perhaps?
Absolutely.
All right. Okay, excellent. Thank you very much, Prashant.
Thank you
for your time. And thank you for listening, everyone.